Scott, the question I had for you was, how would you, I believe that all of you are in favor of having a balanced growth plan, but do you feel that it's appropriate for a city to go out and contact commercial development? Is that something that should just come to us as opposed, what are your thoughts on that?
No, actually, when it comes to economic gardening, going out after the retailers.
I'm sorry, you just used the phrase economic.
I'm sorry, economic. When you're talking about
no, talking to that mic. Don't look at me. Talking to the mic. There.
Economic gardening.
Economic gardening. Okay, thank you.
And you need to contact those developers and develop those relationships so that you can help control what comes to the city, what you're looking for. You know, there's many conferences that go on, and you'll see every city. Norfolk got started a little late, but you can't go to a conference without seeing them there now. They need to bring in the retail revenues. ICSC, the International Conference of Shopping Centers, is a big place. You'll see every city there. Urban Land Institute has conferences. All the cities attend that. That's part of our economic gardening. That's a must.
Okay. Anyone else like to comment? Cheryl? I'm sorry. Cheryl, I haven't talked to Bob in a while. Bob, what do you think about it?
You don't let these things come about totally by accident. And just if somebody happens to be wanting development out here, they're going to bring one to us. I think we need to look for the kinds of developments that we think are going to enhance our life and provide job opportunities. So we should be out looking for them.
Okay. Cheryl, I'm sorry.
Yes. The county hasn't done economic development for us. That's not their forte for unincorporated areas. So, yes, we need to go after that. Absolutely. We also need to go after high-paying jobs for this community. We've got the people, now we need the jobs. And that's another thing that we will do through the city council. You'll have an economic development department, or you'll have people that will advise you on that. But quality development is the key, and what the community wants and needs. And you definitely, we will go after that.
Marcia,
I just was in total agreement with Scott with economic gardening. You've got to go out after the businesses that you need, that you want in your community. You don't want 10 of one thing and nothing of the other. And there are places where you can go and meet with these people. They go on all year long to bring a good employer here to our community. You've got to go out and be able to offer them something and entice them to come to your community.
Mark?
One of our strong suits is medical services. We have Inland Valley Hospital, Casa Permanente, and a lot of doctors' offices over in that area. When I was serving as chairman of the WIN committee, we put in a community facilities district that brought water and sewer over to that side of the freeway. And as a result of that, that is able to grow more and bring in more commercial development, high-quality commercial development. So that gives us the infrastructure that we can now build on and attract high-quality businesses to.
Cheryl, I wanted to ask you, you strike me as very strongly in favor that now is the appropriate time for Wildomar to incorporate it. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
All right. Cheryl, what I'd like to know is, you have studied the economic reports, you've studied the feasibility studies. Is there anything in those reports that stand out to you that make now the time, as opposed to 2 years from now, 5 years from now? Is there anything that really says now's when we really need to move on this?
Well, there's a couple of things. The VLF fees that help cities the first few years of incorporation are
And now, VLF fees.
Vehicle license fees are due to sunset in 2009. We and about 12 other unincorporated communities in California hired a lobbyist, had to fundraise, pay $1,000 a month per city to get the loss of the VLF fees turned around. I don't know if that will happen again. If it sunsets, and especially with what's happening with the state cutting their budget and this LA school district looking and saying, well, we need to raise the state budget and VLF fees look pretty good to us. I mean, that's a big concern. So that, and also the revenue neutrality. If we wait until the commercials developed out here, we aren't going to be able to afford cityhood because we would have to pay any loss of tax revenue back to the county forever. And that could kill incorporation.
All right. Anyone else have a feeling on why it would be appropriate as opposed to at a later point?
I'd like to quote the Californian in this morning's editorial. They say, while it may seem like a scary time to be going out on its own, then pencil out. Wildomar should be able to support itself as a city and still provide better services to its residents than the county can, while bringing much-needed local control to the valley. They're absolutely right. We can have better services for the same amount of money by taking control now. So why not?
All right, someone else on why you think now is appropriate as opposed to later. Scott?
Pastor Ron, thank you. Actually, there's tump fees, okay? Now, when a developer comes in and develops, every rooftop is, I believe, it's $10,000 right now. Each commercial building is $10 a square foot. Now, those fees go to WRCOG at Riverside County. Each city has a representative that sits on that board and decides where those fees are going to be spent for infrastructure, for the improvements of your roads, okay? We don't have a representative. And we have more developed land than most of the other communities around us, but we don't have anybody bring that to us.
Okay, Scott. Daryl?
Just very briefly, I just wanted to say, relative to revenue neutrality, which means it's a state's method of compensating the county for revenue loss. Keep in mind that the cities of Murrieta and Temecula incorporated just before revenue neutrality became into effect.
Respond to that. Bob?
Well, we just spent 4.5 years and about $90,000 just doing studies, trying to get to the point where we could get to the vote. So it takes a while for these things to work through the bureaucratic system. And why do we want to do this again? 3 or 4 years from now, when it might be feasible again, the conditions won't be just right like they are now.
Okay. And Steve, I want to give you an opportunity to respond.
The CFA was generated in 2005, which was the apex of our housing market. As you know, we could just basically mortgage our house for any price. But now that we've hit a correction in the market, we're now down to about 2002, which is realistic. But the CFA never compensates for that. In fact, next 2 years, it says the Wildomar valuation will go up $1 billion, and we know that's not true. It's not real.
Okay. Bridget?
No, the consultant that did the comprehensive fiscal analysis, like Supervisor Buster had mentioned before, that CFA has done 3 times. Steve mentioned once before that it was showed without, that it was showed infeasible. That was because it didn't include the Assembly Bill, the vehicle license fees, because the vehicle license fee, the Assembly Bill had not passed yet. Every single CFA that has been done has shown its proof. And the consultant did, the future projections of increased assessed valuations for residential buildings were verified by the county auditor controller assessor in March of '07.
So basically, all of you who are for cityhood believe that it is economically feasible and that now is the appropriate time. Is that correct? And those of you who are against cityhood now believe that it's not economically feasible right now. I'm sorry, Roger, go ahead.
No, not necessarily. I think we'll get along all right. Make do whatever it is. Also,